Chelsea Football Club have got the price that it will take to go and secure Mark Guehi, and it's a lovely one. I can't lie to you, everyone should be happy with it. However, we're also linked with Kvaratskhelia because Ornstein dropped the bomber straight after I posted my last video, so we need to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you now, we're being used once again. He's going to PSG. Furthermore, Chelsea are playing Morecambe at home tomorrow in an FA Cup preview, and Maresca in his press conference stuck it on Fofana. He absolutely told him to be quiet. Furthermore, he told us the future of Ben Chilwell and Cesar what they're doing to them is actually low-key brilliant. And finally, he told us Reece James and Lavia are coming back. We've got all the quotes that you need from today. Update on Anselmino. It is a jam-packed video. However, first thing you need to do is hit that like button. 1,000 likes goes a massive way, like a huge way to supporting the channel. The algorithm likes it. And secondly, we're like 1,400 away from 40,000 and we're going to get in there fairly quickly. So if you're new, subscribe, support the channel. Let's go. I want to start with the Kvaratskhelia news because once we talk about Kvaratskhelia, after that we can get into the preview and the press conference for Chelsea versus Morecambe, and Enzo Maresca's press conferences link into the Mark Guehi news, the Trevor Chalobah news, everything you need to know. Kvaratskhelia is linked with Chelsea. Yesterday, Ornstein dropped the bomber, and when I tell you it was a bomber, he said, considering Liverpool, Chelsea, PSG. I was like, okay, we're mentioned. This isn't just me wishing it into existence. This is real. Chelsea are actively interested in the player. However, since then, we've had more news come out. And once more news comes out, you get a picture of, are we favourites? Are we there just for an opportunistic signing? Or are we there as just a ploy? Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news because we're there as a ploy. And I'm going to explain it. According to Georgian sources, because I got Georgian TV, kind of watch that thing, they're saying that Kvaratskhelia wants to go to PSG. They're offering him 4 times his salary. Yes, 4 times. Nearly made me choke. 4 times his salary, which is around about £160,000 a week, which is a great offer. You know, then once, I don't blame him for wanting to take it. I don't blame Chelsea if they don't want to offer it. However, and this is where it gets interesting, PSG can't get the player. And let me explain to you why. PSG at this moment in time have financial fair play issues. They need to sell to buy, like many other clubs in the world, right? So according to Fabrizio Romano, the offer is 4 times the amount. And if PSG can't move players, they won't be able to bring him in. So what's going to happen? They're going to try and move on Colomwani. If they get rid of Colomwani, I bet you know the thing. It's a domino effect. You get one, the other one goes. You get one, the other one goes. It's as simple as that. Chelsea and Liverpool, in my opinion, are just being used as ploys in this case. Because unless PSG clear the books, this deal isn't happening, and I don't see Chelsea and Liverpool actively going after him. There are English clubs inquiring, but no one's vehemently chasing him. And sadly, I see him only ending up at PSG. Within the press conference, Enzo Maresca was asked about Trevor Chalobah and Mark Guehi. So what is he saying? He said, look, Trevor Chalobah is a very good player, but he's not my player at the moment. He plays for Crystal Palace. I'm going to respect them. I really like the player. He was asked about Mark Guehi prior to that, and what he said was, Mark Guehi is a good player. I like Mark Guehi. However, I like my centre-halves. I also like centre-halves in Spain and France. So he gave us a very big diplomatic answer. One of them ones where, listen, I'm not answering your stupid question. Leave me alone. Next question, without saying those words. However, prior to the press conference, we got breaking news. And the breaking news came from Simon Johnson and Liam Tulmy. And both of them from the Telegraph revealed that it will take £40 million for Chelsea to get their hands onto Mark Guehi. So the question now is, and this is the question I have, is this £40 million after the 20% discount? Or is this £40 million before? Because that's 2 different things. Before, you apply that 20 million discount, it's a £32 million player, and this is a no-brainer. I'm saying go get this deal done right now. If it's £40 million after the discount, I'm still saying this is a good price. Like, if you like Mark Guehi, if you believe Mark Guehi is the solution to Chelsea going on and winning the league in a year to come, where you've got Chilwell and Guehi, and behind them you got Anselmino and Joshua Chempong and Wesley Fofana. Perfectly fine. Go do it. However, I'm not convinced. I said it before, I've said it again. I am not convinced that Mark Guehi is a title-winning centre-half. I could be pleasantly wrong, you know them ones, or horribly wrong. I don't know. For me personally, at this moment in time, I just feel like it's a risk, and I'd rather we go in another direction. In regards to team news, we've got a lot of teams, and the team news is actually very positive. Number one, Reece James and Lavia are expected to get minutes. This is coming from Enzo Maresca. Furthermore, Fofana, Badiashile are out. Keenan Dewsbury-Hall is still out as well. And Selmino, it's come too soon for him. Now time to give you the details around it. We'll talk about Fofana in a second, and when I tell you you need to hear this, I mean you need to hear this. The first one, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall. Enzo Maresca went on a little soliloquy. He spoke about how, Keenan has a future at the club. Keenan is an important player. He's a good player. He has a lot of respect for Keenan. But big man, your actions have told me otherwise, right? Keenan's been on the bench. There's been instances where you can rotate. You haven't. There's been instances where you can bring him on for Enzo to freshen up. You haven't. Keenan is going to be leaving the club if the right offer comes in. I'm not here to lie to you guys. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. Anselmino. He said Anselmino needs to acclimatize to the weather, the pace of the training, and more importantly, he just needs to get himself right after the injury that he had at Boca Juniors with his hamstring. Perfectly fine. No need to rush him in. Tomorrow, I want to see Tosin and Josh Ashempong playing in the two positions. Genuinely serious. That is the way I would go with it. I don't want to see Levi Colwill even on the bench. Then we get the beautiful story of Wesley Fofana. So for those of you that don't know, Fofana actively went onto Instagram, and Fofana wanted to let the world know that he'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. And for me, I didn't understand why Fofana needed to do this when Enzo Maresca publicly came out in a press conference and said his season could be over. So today, surprise, surprise, Enzo Maresca gets asked for the question, and when I tell you he crashed it on Wesley Fofana in the most polite way, I mean he crashed it on him. He basically told him, I said what was correct. You knew this was correct. There was no need for you to do this. What did he say? He said, I spoke to Wes clearly. I communicated to him in English and French. And the reality is, if he wanted to do it in Italian and Spanish, he could have done. He speaks 4 languages. He said, I spoke to him in English and French. I told him he is expected to be out between 12 to 16 weeks according to the medical staff and the medical advice from the Chelsea doctor. Wes believes he can be back in 4 to 6 weeks. That for me highlights everything that's wrong with players coming out on Instagram and Twitter making statements. Number one, I said this on the day. We don't know what Wes's doctors are telling him. Wes's doctors clearly told him we could get you back in 4 to 6 weeks. Chelsea's doctors, who are hamstring specialists because they acquired them recently, because of the number of hamstrings we've had, are suggesting he's going to be out for 12 to 16 weeks to naturally heal this. This is a completely different timeline. And the fact that Enzo Maresca had to come out and put his foot down so publicly tells me one thing. They are not happy with Wesley Fofana's attitude in terms of coming out and belittling the coach's words publicly. But secondly, they are not backing down to players feeling like, oh, I'm going to come out and publicly say X, Y, and Z and it's okay. This is the first gauntlet down, where you can't say stuff like this. I've heard from Matt Law when I've watched him on podcasts that Fofana is one of Enzo Maresca's favorite players. You keep doing stuff like this, geezer, you won't be. I promise you. Because you need to know, in my opinion, sometimes when to say stuff publicly and when to keep stuff internally. If you're targeting 4 to 6 weeks, like Maresca said, I'll happily take him back. But the medical staff is saying 12 to 16 weeks. This is Fofana being desperate to get back quicker because of the time he missed. And you know what? I understand it. But the reality is all he did was cause a bigger problem. Stop it. 2 players that weren't mentioned when the injury list came out, but basically are injured, are Cesar F.C. and Ben Chilwell. Cesar F.C. is set to leave the club, right? Napoli have went and got Philip Billing, so Cesar F.C. is not going there. They did not agree on the fee that Chelsea were asking for. However, Maresca said he will not be involved tomorrow because they're not trying to basically cup tie him or ruin any potential move for him. He is a good player. He believes Cesar is actively a good 6. I don't see it personally. I don't think he's a 6. I think he's an 8. Box crashing 8. Very old school. I'll get into the box, header it in, smash it in type of player. But we disagree on that. He also reiterated that the player needs to play more minutes, and they're going to try to find the best solution for him. But he's at the moment competing with Romeo Lavia, and he's competing with Moises Caicedo. He's just unlucky. There is no minutes to give him. Then Ben Chilwell. Ben Chilwell will not be playing tomorrow because they're going to try sort him out alone. And the reality is the loan is going to be in England because there's no international spots that they're going to be wasting on Ben Chilwell. I'll tell you that now for free. So Ben Chilwell's in a similar predicament. They're trying to find him a solution. I don't know whether they're going to find him that solution because at this moment in time, Ben Chilwell is an asset that not many clubs want. He doesn't fit our system. He makes a heck of a lot of money. And I don't know who's going to take him. Maybe Manchester United, eh? We'd all love to see that. Chelsea versus Morecambe though tomorrow. Let's preview the game. The reality is when I was younger, I used to call him Morecambe because I was a fool. I thought the B wasn't silent. So I called them Morecambe. So Morecambe is a team that's not doing very well, I think, in League 2, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to have to just go in there and handle our business. What I want to see is a heavily rotated side with some experience, right? So for me, Jurgensen would start in goal. Malo Gusto would go at right back. Josh Achempong and Tosin Adarabioyo as the two centre-halves. Left back, I'm going for Viega. So by that logic, I am resting Levi, I'm resting Cucurella, or maybe Reece James. Reece James can start, Gusto gets rested for the midweek. Forgot Reece James exists, that's actually really bad. In the midfield, I'm going with Lavia. Personally, and this won't happen, but I would honestly go for a Raksaki or a Keanu Dyer right next to Lavia. I'd go for the number 10 role in Joao Felix. Number 9, I'm going Mark Guehi, not Christopher Nkunku. On the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, this is where it gets interesting. I would go for Noni Madueke because he needs the minutes. And on the left-hand side, I would personally go for a Tariq George. I would also understand if Felix goes to the left, Nkunku drops into the 10 with Mark Guehi at the top. That would work as well. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on that team. It's going to be interesting, but I am resting a lot of the key starters. They looked tired, they looked fatigued, and we should have enough to be a League 2 side with the team that I suggested. We're giving youngsters some minutes, we're giving some veteran experienced players some minutes, and we're also just keeping the competition and people like sharp. I predict a win. I'm hoping it's 4-0, but the main thing is just get through. Genuinely, it's the FA Cup. Just get through and get a lucky draw in the next round and then a lucky draw in the round after that. Next thing you know, it's the quarter semi-finals and we've got something positive to look forward to alongside the Conference League and the Premier League, hopefully, where we're comfortably 3rd or 2nd. But it is what it is. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts. And like I said, we're 1,400 away from the 40,000 goal. Help me out. Peace out. I'm out.